Hello again. We're going to talk some more on ELT versus ETL. What I thought I would do is use a presentation that I just put together for SQL Pass Summit in Seattle that just wrapped up last week. I presented, it was the program, or the track was actually Speaker Idle, where you have 5 minutes to present a topic, and so I thought I would present that topic to enlighten people on ELT versus ETL decisions, especially with respect to a data warehouse. If you're populating a data warehouse, what direction do you want to go? So you've got the ELT road, which is a newer paradigm, versus ETL. Okay, so the difference between the two primarily is where do you put the T, the transformations. ETL is the most common paradigm where the transformations occur within the pipeline. ELT is the new paradigm that works very well with data warehousing and other applications where the transformations occur after your data arrives or is staged. So that's really what the question is, or the puzzle. So is it a trivial issue, or is this an architectural decision that's important? Well, if we look at something, a common tool used for data integration, SSIS, if you're going to put the transformation within the pipeline or the data flow, you would want to use a lookup transformation. That lookup transformation is designed to go inside of a data flow. And there you would potentially look up another source to add perhaps a surrogate key or add a derived column. On the other hand, you could take that very same lookup logic and create a join. Now your join statement is nothing but pure SQL and accomplishes the same thing as a lookup, but this is done outside of the data flow or after that your data arrives. So the critical thing here is that by putting it outside, the transformation is decoupled from the data flow. And as you'll see, that gives you a lot more opportunities or flexibility in your transformations, especially looking at issues such as scalability. So what are these transformations? As I alluded to just a minute ago, table lookups, perhaps for surrogate keys. A lot of it has to do with cleaning, conforming your data, merging your data. It could be very high-end or high-volume inserts and update statements. It could also be integrity checks, looking at row counts, looking at checksums to make sure that the data that you moved from the source actually did make it into the target. With the cloud, the transformations, which are just SQL, now have all kinds of scalability options, because within the cloud, you can easily scale up the number of CPUs that you're dealing with, both up and down as you need it. So if you have high transactions, you're going to need high CPU, high I/O, and within the cloud, you can scale up just long enough to process, scale back down so you're not constantly paying for that resource. So you're able to gain that benefit if, in fact, you decouple your transformations and put that at the end of your ELT process. Is it tied to any specific data integration tool? Well, no. No, it's not so much the tool set that you choose, but which tools within that tool set that you take advantage of. So you could use Azure Data Factory and SSIS or BIML or our product ELT Snap. And in all cases, you're able to use just the tools that are specific to extracting and loading and then transforming, thereby decoupling independent of whatever tool that you decide to use. The nice thing about once you decouple is you can now issue native transactions to your database. you're not constrained by a middle layer and how it actually sees your database. So for example, if you're going to do a large amount of processing, you can issue a command in the cloud to your essentially your CPU compute to say, give me 110, 100 times more power than I had a minute ago. Then you submit your SQL, which again would do this heavy lifting transformations. Once it's done, you then shrink it back to one or no compute nodes. And so all of this is possible by going directly to the database. And what you find there is it's really all about orchestration at that point. So why is it so hard to say ELT? Well, our brains are hardwired to ETL. So it's almost impossible without stopping and thinking to get the acronym ELT out. The other thing is people tend to look at you funny. Well, they look at you funny because they think maybe they meant ETL, but no, we mean very specifically ELT. And then if you do it enough, some people get a little bit concerned. They might need a safe space in extreme circumstances. So for all those reasons, we tend to say ETL, when in reality, what we're looking for is ELT because of the potential inherent to that. I hope you enjoyed the presentation. We'll be back again in a week or so with the next installation.